Have you ever thought about whether truck driving skills, which are considered complex, have become the cause of these catastrophic difficulties? A feeling of curiosity and panic engulfs us when faced with those images. What are you waiting for? Come join me to find out and discover the truth behind it. Wow, its power is too great. Wow. It seems like it's having trouble. Oh my God, the machine will be lost. Its flight distance is very close to the ground. The pile of snow is extremely scary. It's really scary. Situations where you can't sit still are serious. What is she dancing? He's great. Luckily, there were no mishaps. Oh no, that's too dangerous. You see, it has been submerged in the sea for a long time. This driver definitely doesn't have a driver's license. It is approaching the house. How can he get through this forest? Without it, everything is difficult. The situation was extremely difficult as he was trying to get the car across the stream. Please subscribe to the channel so I know you're still watching. The truck carrying wood lumbered along the slippery road. The driver frowned, his hands trembling tightly on the steering wheel. Every time the car tilted, he silently prayed. The surrounding scenery faded away, leaving only the sound of rain falling and the roar of the car engine. An incident happened. The concrete mixer truck suddenly cracked. It was too wasteful. He's not done worrying yet, but he's still pulling for more. Oh, what's going on with these gas trucks? It's funny. If this car falls down, the consequences will be serious. Oh my God, he can still walk. The machine is too productive. The car is amazing. driver with skillful driving skills. Sit and wait for him to come. The iron horses are struggling. Early in the morning, the logging truck moved majestically on the forest road, the huge log swaying on the truck's trunk, making the move even more difficult. The wheels moving slowly on the road stuck to the ground and squeaked. The sound was really shrill. The container seemed to be lifted up because of its weight. Like a domestic monster. Oh my God! The road looked like it was filled with oil. The road surface was shiny, and the driver looked bewildered at the slope ahead without knowing how to get over it. Without this little guy, that giant monster doesn't know how long it would stand there. They are competing in mud baths. It's too dangerous. I couldn't believe it. The landslide happened so quickly and unexpectedly. Everything seemed to be buried by piles of waste. A difficult situation has arisen. The rickety mini-truck, filled with huge logs, slowly crawled down the slope. Oh my! The muddy and slippery road surface caused the car to tilt and about to overturn. The driver tightened his grip on the steering wheel, his hands shaking and sweating profusely. The power of machines cannot be underestimated. The driver was sweating, but still very focused. He thought that if this trip was successful, he would have a lot of money. The container moves alone in the forest. Oh, the road home today is no longer accessible. It had been raining for many days, causing loose mud to stick to the wheels. The car swayed and tilted as if it wanted to dump the entire box. Oh my God! The slope of death? How did he get over here? Comment number 1 to add more motivation to the car. An unexpected situation happened at a factory in Russia. Oh, the water level is too deep. The impact caused the car trunk to fly out. My friend seems very weak today. Oh, come on! The roar of the engine and the sound of tires rubbing against the road surface were deafening. Overloaded trucks are like clockwork. It can do many scary things. The image of giant cars moving on the road made my heart skip a beat. The car is really useful. The driver was so reckless, I couldn't blink when I witnessed this scene. All efforts seemed meaningless. The car was tied to a rope stretched on the mountainside. The cargo box shook. The driver couldn't sleep. Sweat drenched his shirt. Reached the destination, but the result was not what he expected. What should I do? Can the power of Mother Nature overcome machine power? Oh my God! The dangerous forest road seemed to swallow the small truck. The truck was overloaded with wood, heavy, dragging step by step. The driver tried his best but still couldn't make the car move faster. Every strange noise, every time the car shook, made him scared. Wow, it's too big for my machine. We were panicked when we saw the gasoline tanker stuck in the middle of the road. The strong smell of gasoline made us not dare to get close. We just stood there watching and praying that nothing happened. The brightest green of the forest. The car was like a dancing puppet, swaying along the road. Everything that happens on the road is like a dance that makes everyone vibrate. Oh no, many unexpected situations happened. The car rushed forward like a monster without fear of obstacles. I like this machine. Sweat was pouring down his forehead. His heart felt like it was about to jump out of his chest. The strong smell of gasoline entered my nose, adding to the feeling of stuffiness and fear. The car kept sinking deeper and deeper, like a trapped monster. Wow, The car is great. It's really too cumbersome. The car, its massive body now looked like a wounded animal, stuck in the middle of the hillside. The wheels spun blindly but in vain. The body of the car kept sinking deeper. Fortunately, the giant crane arrived promptly. The iron cables were tense, hissing in the wind. The car was pulled backwards, scooping each box out of the car. What is he doing with his car? Like a trapped animal. The slope seemed to swallow the car whole. The difficulty is double. The road seems to be swallowing the moving car. There was help from the crane, but everything became meaningless. Oh, the heavy timber truck crawled down the slippery slope. Each screeching sound of the tires on the gravel road makes people hold their breath. Ah, a stone passed by. Luckily, the driver handled it promptly. Oh my God, how can the car get over this winding road? So scared, how could he get the car up there? The mountain is so dangerous that he is choosing to take a shortcut to shorten the time. The driver was truly too courageous. His slow steps shook violently. Wow, it's amazing. The agricultural machine plows the soil quickly, making planting much easier. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to know more interesting machines. In the luxuriant forest, the mighty wooden picking machine is working non-stop. Large and small tree trunks were quickly uprooted from the ground and neatly stacked. Thanks to this machine, wood harvesting becomes easier and faster than ever, contributing to reducing human labor. The freight train rumbled across the field. Black smoke curling from a train car behind became increasingly dense. The red fire was like a ferocious fire snake, quickly swallowing the entire train car filled with flammable goods. Loud explosions rang out continuously, fragments scattered. Toxic smoke covered the area, causing limited visibility. The train staff panicked and sounded the alarm, but it was too late. The fire spread quickly, threatening other train cars and houses along the tracks. Firefighters quickly arrived, but due to the rugged terrain and high winds, extinguishing the fire was very difficult. The fire burned everything in its path, leaving a scene of desolation. It was too dangerous. The situation became critical. The firefighting plane promptly lowered its altitude and headed straight at the fire. From above, water cannons sprayed powerful water, pouring straight into the burning fire. Fortunately, under the pressure of the water flow, the fire gradually weakened and was finally completely extinguished. It was terrible. The road was slippery due to prolonged rain and floods. The heavy truck was like a monster stuck in the middle of a swamp. Thick mud clung to the wheels, making them as heavy and rigid as rocks. Oh my God, the tire tracks were imprinted deep into the mud, forming deep grooves. The driver tried his best, stepping on the accelerator all the way, but the car still stood still. The wheels spun wildly, but the car still sank deeper into the mud. The rain continued to fall, rushing like a waterfall, making the road even more slippery and dangerous. Oh well, a series of other vehicles were also stuck behind, forming a long waiting line. The sound of loud car horns mixed with the sound of falling rain creates a tense, stuffy atmosphere. If you find this robot funny, comment number 1. The massive container ship was like a sea monster, moving forward. The ship's hull is made of steel, shiny like a mirror, reflecting the sky and vast ocean. Containers stacked high on top of each other, like giant Rubik's cubes. The pure white sails swelled like giant sail leaves, catching the strong wind. The roar of the engine echoed everywhere, like the roar of a wild animal. Sea waves crashed loudly against the side of the ship, creating white foam. The waves were as big as giant walls of water, smashing violently against the ship's hull. The ship shook violently, wobbling like a small boat in the vast ocean. The lighthouse lights flickered in the distance, like small stars illuminating the ship's way through the night. If you like this machine, please comment number 1. The Komatsu PC-208 excavator, with a weight of nearly 20 tons, is slowly penetrating the ruined house. The giant iron arms, nearly 7 meters long, of this excavator are like steel monsters, crushing each piece of rotten concrete. The sound of the engine roaring, shaking the whole street corner, mixed with the sound of the house collapsing, creating a chaotic sound. Each impact of the shovel hitting the wall of the house caused pieces of mortar to fly and create dust. The house, with its cracked and dilapidated walls, looked like a giant skeleton about to collapse at any moment. Danger lurks everywhere. A small noise can cause the entire house to collapse. Workers working in this area must be extremely careful and cautious. Unfortunately, the Ford Ranger pickup truck, with its outer shell covered in mud, is lying soaked in a quagmire. The 4 wheels were spinning wildly, but the car was still firmly planted in one place. The rescue team was at the scene with a specialized crane. The engine roared. The shiny iron cables were tense, ready to pull the car up. The rescue workers worked quickly and coordinated well. After struggling for a while with the thick layer of mud, the pickup truck finally slowly rose out of the water. I guess the driver is very stressed when encountering this situation. The heavy truck, filled with sand, was trying to climb the slippery slope. The wheels spun blindly. Sand poured onto the road, creating a giant quagmire. Every time the car shakes, a quantity of sand falls down, blocking the entire road. Loud car horns and people screaming were deafening. So surprising. The old truck slowly waded through the rising floodwaters. Each impact of the wheel on the reef caused the whole car to shake violently. Water rushed into the cabin, covering everything. The engine roared weakly, as if calling for help. The driver's eyes were filled with worry, his hands clutching the steering wheel tightly. The fast water swept away tree branches and wood debris, threatening to puncture the vehicle's trunk at any time. Every second that passes, the risk of the car being submerged increases. The car's power is facing the fierce water force of nature. So exciting, cheers everywhere. 2 massive racing cars raced on the track. The exhaust pipes on the roof of the car emitted billows of black smoke. The engine roared like a monster, shaking the air. Every time the car accelerated, It jerked violently. The wheels smoked. Dust covered the track, reducing the visibility of the racers. Reckless overtaking took place continuously, making the audience's hearts pound. The race was dramatic but also extremely dangerous. Just a small mistake could lead to unpredictable consequences. The heavy truck, loaded with goods, was struggling in the mud. The wheels spun wildly, mud splashed, but the car's body still sank deeper. The sound of the engine roaring loudly, mixed with the sound of tight, squeaking cables. Every time the rescue vehicle pulled, the cable became as tight as if it was about to break, causing the truck to shake violently. The driver was sweating profusely, clinging tightly to the steering wheel, following every movement of the car. It seemed like the whole car was struggling in desperation, waiting to be freed. It's too dangerous. The driver of this trip is really having a headache because the goods are no longer available. The heavy truck lay upside down in the choppy water, its body tilted at a dangerous angle. The wheels spun helplessly, rocks and soil scattered. With each passing second, the car sank deeper and deeper, threatening to be completely submerged in the riverbed. If not rescued in time, not only will the vehicle be lost, but it can also cause serious consequences for the environment. Fuel and engine oil can leak out, causing water pollution. The crane tried its best to pull the car up, but the slippery terrain and fast currents made the rescue work extremely difficult. Everyone held their breath and watched, worried for the safety of those on rescue duty. The 37-ton truck, with its powerful 6.7 Cummins engine, was struggling on the slippery slope. The trunk was filled with pine wood and was heavy, making the car sluggish every inch. The engine roared, black smoke poured out, the water thermometer skyrocketed, causing smoke to rise from the car. The four wheels stuck tightly to the rough road surface, leaving deep ruts. The driver tightened his grip on the steering wheel, sweating profusely. Every vibration of the car made him nervous. The heavy Komatsu PC-208 excavator with giant iron arms was slowly penetrating the old house. Oh my God! The house is tilted, the walls are cracked, and it looks like it's about to collapse at any moment. The engine roared. The iron arms swung vigorously. Each piece of concrete shattered and scattered. So dangerous. Each impact of the excavator caused the house to shake violently, the walls to peel off, and dust to fly. Oh, come on. If, unfortunately, the house collapses, the consequences will be unpredictable. Workers working in this area must be extremely careful and cautious. Oh my God! My companion is done. The heavy truck, carrying a powerful 8-liter engine, roared up the steep slope. The road surface is rough and full of potholes, causing the car to shake violently. Suddenly, a loud explosion rang out and smoke rose from the hood. The engine roared weakly and then stopped completely. Losing control, the truck rushed toward the slope, flipping at a 45-degree angle. The door burst open, the boxes inside fell out, rolling into the abyss. Luckily, the driver was able to escape before the car crashed. However, this truck filled with essential goods got stuck on a slope, threatening to cause traffic congestion and potentially cause accidents for other vehicles. Oh my God! The giant truck, its body rough from the sun and wind, lay at an angle in the middle of the village road. The four wheels sank deep into the soft soil. Both sides of the tires were filled with smoke. The cabin door was wide open, revealing a disheveled interior and a silent engine. Around, a crowd of curious people stood watching and chatting. The engine roared as rescue vehicles tried to pull the heavy truck out of the mud. Oh my God! The car was lying in the middle of a muddy field, its body tilted at a 45-degree angle. The four wheels whirled in the air, mud splashing. The crane's roar echoed. The cable was tense like a giant pipa. Every time the crane moved up a little, the car shook violently. Oh my! Sweat poured down on the foreheads of the workers who were trying their best. Luckily, after many efforts, the car was finally pulled to shore safely. My goodness! The entire crowd breathed a sigh of relief. It's too dangerous. It was raining, and the heavy truck, carrying a giant industrial machine weighing up to 50 tons, was slowly climbing up the pass. The road surface is narrow, winding, and the curves constantly challenge the driver. The industrial machine is nearly 8 meters high and 5 meters wide, protruding completely from the trunk, obscuring vision. The engine roared, the wheels stuck to the road surface, leaving deep ruts. At each turn, the car tilted to one side, making the people sitting in the car feel heart-stopped. After many hours of struggling, the car finally crossed the dangerous pass. The power of Mother Nature is so great, it seems to be swallowing a giant iron horse. The heavy truck, its body rough from wind and rain, floated in the middle of the rushing floodwater. The four wheels were spinning, hopeless. The engine completely died, smoke billowed from the hood. cabin door was wide open. The driver stood huddled on the roof of the cabin, looking around worriedly. The water rose rapidly, washing away everything on the road. The truck is like a small boat in the vast ocean, helpless before the power of nature. Terribly, the 750 horsepower Volvo FH16 shuddered with every step on the bumpy road. The giant block of iron, weighing tens of tons, was like a sleeping monster, weighing heavily on the car frame. Every time it goes through a pothole, the car shakes violently, making the driver's heart pound. The engine roared like a wild animal. The wheels stuck to the road, leaving long tire tracks. I saw sweat pouring down on the talented guy's forehead. If the iron block moves even a little, the car can lose control, causing unpredictable consequences. Have you ever seen how the container truck works? Now, the giant vehicle, as heavy as a steel monster, was struggling in the vast sea of snow. Each time the wheel turned, it slid a little farther, crashing into rock-hard ice. The car's body tilted back and forth, threatening to overturn into a deep abyss. The cabin door opened, revealing a disheveled interior and a shattered rearview mirror. The sound of car horns blaring, mixed with the howling sound of the wind, creating a deadly symphony. The driver, with a pale face, clutched the steering wheel, trying to control the rebellious steel monster. With every passing second, the situation becomes more dire. The planes, like giant iron birds, roared through the wind, flying low over the rooftops. The sound of the engine roared, shaking the whole ground. The fan blades rotate rapidly, carrying strong winds, scattering dust and dirt. Oh my! How dangerous! They fly too low, too close to houses, and can crash at any time. Children ran into the house in panic. Adults looked worriedly at the sky. This scene is really scary. Everyone feels uneasy and worried. Strong collisions right on the ground with other small vehicles create a feeling of fear as the wind sweeps away everything, including small grains of sand. Oh, so huge. The 750 horsepower Volvo FH16 shuddered with each step on the winding mountain road. The giant wind turbine blade, weighing tens of tons, was like a sleeping monster, weighing heavily on the car frame. At each turn, the car tilted to one side, making the driver's heart pound. The engine roared like a wild animal. The wheels stuck to the road, leaving long tire tracks. Sweat beaded on his forehead. The driver tightened his grip on the steering wheel. If the iron block moves even a little, the car can lose control and tip over into the abyss. Every second that passed, he felt like he was walking on a tightrope. A small mistake could lead to unpredictable consequences. I really like the Mercedes-Benz Actros truck. It was heavy, like an iron monster, struggling with the slushy mud. The wheels spun, helplessly clinging to the slippery road surface. Every time the wheel rotates, the mud splashes, burying the tires. The rain was still falling, mixing with the roar of the engine to create a chaotic symphony. The driver, with a pale face, tightened his grip on the steering wheel. He knew that the situation was becoming dangerous. The road is muddy and slippery, becoming even more dangerous in the pouring rain. With each passing second, the car sank a little deeper. If there are no timely rescue measures, the vehicle may overturn or sink deep into a mud puddle. Each turn on the steep pass is a challenge for the driver. The giant container, as heavy as an iron and steel monster, wobbled on the winding roads. The higher the speed, the greater the centrifugal force, weighing on the suspension system. Every time it turns a corner, the container tilts to one side, causing the vehicle inside to hit the wall hard. Dense fog covers. Visibility is limited. Drivers can only leave their fate to the tires. If unfortunately encountering a pothole or a sudden strong wind, the container can lose control and tip over into the abyss. Unpredictable consequences. Not only the driver, but also other traffic participants will be caught in the death spiral. Oh, come on. The boat is as small as a leaf, drifting in the vast ocean. The waves were rushing, crashing loudly against the side of the boat. The sea wind howled, carrying cold raindrops. The boat tilted and wobbled, as if it could sink at any moment. The sailor clung tightly to the side of the boat, his face pale with fear. Seawater flooded the ship's deck, flooding items. Oh, this fierce storm is so terrible. Threaten the lives of seafarers. Too dangerous. The container truck shuddered with each step on the winding mountain road. The giant block of iron inside was like a sleeping monster, weighing heavily on the chassis. At each turn, the car tilted to one side, making the driver's heart pound. The engine roared, the wheels stuck to the road, leaving long tire tracks. Sweat beaded on his forehead. The driver tightened his grip on the steering wheel. If the iron block moves even a little, the car can lose control and tip over into the abyss. Every second that passed, he felt like he was walking on a tightrope. A small mistake could lead to unpredictable consequences. Did you know that it takes a lot of effort and time to move a plane to the airport? The giant truck, as heavy as a steel monster, crawled slowly along the road. On its back, the massive fuselage resembles a sleeping giant, threatening to crush anything in its way. With each step, the road surface shook and dust flew. The giant airplane propeller, even though it has stopped spinning, is still an unpredictable threat. Oh my! How dangerous! Just a small mistake, a sudden gust of wind, or an unexpected pothole can cause this giant machine to lose control, causing unpredictable consequences. People on both sides of the road stood crouched, not taking their eyes off the car, filled with worry. We hope this information has partly helped you understand this issue better. Thank you for accompanying us on this trip. Don't forget to share your experiences in the comments section. See you again on the next trips.